Hey there, everybody. Hey, there's a little bit of a different video here for you today. I was going to wait until the end of the season here to do this as sort of like a kind of filler in between type video. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to create all of the videos I wanted to create beforehand. So here we are now with about, 3 games left in the season, and we're going to look at this now. The topic today is training. And in particular, the topic is going to be the training schedule that I use. So I've got a shout out down below to my man Max over at Evidence-Based Football Manager, whose channel I think is actually the best football manager channel on YouTube today. I love the way that he went about his football manager training schedule, and we're going to take a quick look at that here because that is the schedule that I use. So this is the schedule that I used here. Refer to my YouTube channel, Evidence-Based Football Manager, for details / updates. This is the same one from FM101 from the sort of end of life of the game that Max came out with. I use it to this day, and it works. It works really well. You can see here, and I'll let his video speak for itself. I'll link to it down below. But we have 3 attacking sessions, 3 resistance sessions, and 3 match practice sessions. 3, because this is for 2 matches a week. It works great. You need to have a whole bunch of rest, right? So if you have training sessions and your players are getting injured anyway, or they're not progressing right, think about putting in some rest. Max's spreadsheets show you all of the work and show you exactly how this works out based upon the look that he's taking into the game. It's not necessarily this simple. And when you go onto the official Sports Interactive message boards, it will remind you, and the people who work for Sports Interactive will remind you that it's not quite as simple as just saying, oh, we're just going to throw in a whole bunch of rest and everything's going to be fine. Depends also on your player and on their personality and on what they like to do, what they don't like to do, and all this other stuff. But I have been using this, when we look at the calendar, I've been using this schedule for the length of the save. Oh, this doesn't let me go back. Well, you can see that I've used it at least for these past 2 weeks. I'm going to use it for the next week as well. I've used this ever since the beginning of the save. And we'll take a quick look here, probably at training. Let's see if we can look at individual progress here and get an idea of what's going on. Well, we're not going to be able to see any individual progress on there. And so if that doesn't work, we're probably going to go back over and just take a look at a couple individual people. We'll start with some of the most obvious players we can start with. So we'll look at someone like Shi Jiayang. I've showed you him before. If we take a look at his development and his progress, remember there's no star ratings. Yeah, he doesn't have as much to show. But it has been positive for somebody who probably does not have somebody who probably does not have necessarily the potential that some of the other players have. We look at somebody like Jubin, who does have that potential. You can see over time progress was slow at first. He was injured for a little while, made a little bit of progress here, and then as soon as he hit the first team, he's just been shooting up like a rocket. All right, let's look at somebody else. We will look at Paulson, Christopher Paulson. So he's got a balanced personality. Good player for this level, definitely. We'll look at his progress. And we see, again, massive uptick, maybe a little bit of decline, and then more uptick, right? Another young player. Let's look at a player who's not that young, right? So let's look at Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-il is not really that young and hasn't really been playing that much. I actually have no idea what his progress is going to look like. And look, as soon as he joined the club, he had massive uptick in progress, and the progress has continued to move up slightly and is finally starting to go down, right? This is something that we'll notice with like every single player on this club, right? Young or old. So Kwon Hyo-kyu is a little bit older, and he, again, had a massive uptick in progress. And then he's kind of flatlined, mostly because we haven't played him as often as we played him then. But this is the sort of thing that I've noticed as I've gone through this club over and over and over again with guys, almost regardless of their age, as we've been going through, here's who I'm looking for, Pak Myung-sung, was we've been going through training, and as we've been pushing this progress forward, we usually see these huge explosions in progress, especially if you combine this evidence-based football manager training schedule with giving the players game time. Now, because I'm not using star ratings and because we don't have attributes turned on, I can't show you exactly whether the promised effect is taking place for all of these players or not. But what I can show you is that this is definitely happening, and this is something that seems to happen to players even when they have the wrong personality, even when they're not the sort of player who would develop normally into a wonder kid. I'm seeing some stuff that I find really, really interesting and that I wasn't really expecting to see. Let's see if I can find this guy. Amat Jang. I don't know if here he is. It's arranged by first name, of course. 16 years old. He has a casual personality, and he's not very consistent. And when we look at his progress has also been up, and away, especially recently. The reason why I bring him up is because when we look at the advice that they tell us, they keep telling me stuff that, the squad's had a good effect, and he is doing well in training, and he could be as good as Manta. Right. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about evidence-based football managers' training schedule. This is the thing that I've been seeing like all across the board, regardless of the player's personality, regardless of like how good or how bad they are, or anything like that. I'm seeing for the most part nothing but players who are doing really, really well in training, including guys who probably shouldn't because they have bad personalities and they're not the sort of player that's supposed to be a wonder kid. This training schedule works, right? This works better than any training schedule I've tried from anybody else, and I've tried them all. Now, you still do get guys occasionally who will get injured. That's happened before. And you do get guys who just don't want to try. So this guy, Deng Chao, likes to fight with me about training. And he's even been making some progress slowly, right? Not as much as he should. Now, I always tell you that fighting about training usually means that he's not that professional. I'm guessing that he's probably not super professional, but it's hard to tell because the personality is balanced. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'm not going to cheat to find out. I just know that if he keeps training poorly and keeps fighting with me about it, we're probably going to no longer employ him. That gives you sort of an idea of what to look for here. And training rating of 6.65 is not that bad. Maybe he's finally turned it around. Anyway, so there's a little idea of how football manager or evidence-based football manager's training schedule works in reality. This, I know, is not one of those tests where like I went through a season like really quickly. It's been slow. But if you continue to watch this channel and watch the save as it progresses, you will see by and by how things continue to move forward and how training continues to progress for these players as we continue to use Max's work. So once again, shout out to Max. Thank you very much for your excellent work and for all of the hard work that you put into Football Manager and helping those of us out to figure this stuff out. I'll tell you guys, when I was starting to play this game, I was like, what do I do? What am I supposed to do with training? What's the thing that's most effective? And I got all this conflicting information. Oh, well, you're not supposed to do this right before the match. You're not supposed to do that right before the match. And it turned out that all that information was a bunch of junk. I should have just been waiting for Max to come out with his stuff because he's the only one who knew what he was talking about. Everybody else was just guessing, right? So don't worry about what anyone else says. Just listen to what Max says. That's kind of my motto in life right now. Anyway, take care and talk to you later. Bye.